Hello everyone, welcome to the purple classes of the Ras Indica IAS Academy. Desh Badala Padhai Badala. So today we will be discussing the next subtopic of the GS paper 3 of the UPSC mains examination. So mobilizations of resources that we are going to discuss today. So let me discuss like yesterday what we have started with that. So this is what the syllabus that we have discussed. And under that, if you can see over here, we have discussed the Indian economy and the issue related to the planning that has been already given in a single video. Single video, you will be getting it. And today we will be discussing the next subtopic of this is mobilization of resources. We will be discussing mobilization of resources. What is the resources? How many type of resources? What is the meaning of mobilization of resources? What is the problem with the mobilization of resources? Okay, uses, problem, need, and everything we will be discussing, and what we are doing, what India is doing regarding the mobilizations of resources that we are going to discuss today. So this is the topic number one, subtopic two. Okay, and in the next video we will be discussing the next topic, that is growth, development, and employment. Right. So let's start. Mobilization of resources. Before starting anything, we should know what is the meaning of, first of all, resources. So resources is something which has certain value. Anything which has value we consider as resource. Okay, so what is the purpose? Anything which has some value and it is utilized to accomplish some objective. That means if you have sand, we have a lot of millions of trillions of tons of sand is there, but if it is of no value, if it is of no value, then it will not be considered as a resource. This is no resource. Like if I give you a live example, like river sand and desert sand. River sand is of huge worth. Desert sand is of no worth. So river sand will be considered as resource and desert sand will not be considered as resource, because river sand we utilize for the building purposes and various other purposes, right? We make buildings and we make roads and everything we utilizing for that purpose, right? But desert sand has some structural issue, so we cannot utilize the desert sand in a similar way as we utilize river sand. So desert sand we considered as no worth, and river sand we call it as worthful, right? I hope everybody got this concept. Now resource refers to any material available in the environment. Look, anything, whether it is land, water, air, anything, wood, trees, or anything, whatever comes to your mind, and if you are utilizing it and if you are having certain worth of it, that means resource is something which is having certain worth, certain value. Okay, and which is helping us to satisfy certain needs. If we have wood, lakdi, if we are utilizing that wood for making furniture of a burning purpose, that means that wood is having worth and it has some value, so that is considered as resource, right? And as you all know that item become a resource over a time and with the development of technology, right? Now I will tell you what. 250 million years ago, 250 million years ago, our forest got subsided because of tsunami or whatever it is. Okay, whatever it is. So forest got totally uh, washed away in the various catastrophic events. So within this 250 million euro, this forest is being there under the earth. Okay, under huge heat and pressure. Under huge heat and pressure, this forest wood got converted into a coal. Now this coal is of worth today because in everywhere coal is utilized for energy generation. Okay, so this is how we identify the value of something. Okay, now we know petroleum resources. Petroleum comes from crude oil. right? How crude oil is being made? It is because of the dead and decaying microorganism, marine animals, right? So they have got submerged, they got under the sand of the river bed, under the seabed for longer time, and because of extreme heat and pressure, they get converted into crude oil, right? So it is the time, and with the development of technologies, a item become a resource. Earlier the wood was not a resource during that time, but slowly the wood got converted into coal, and now coal has become a resource. That means within the time frame of time, with the 250 million years, the wood which is of no worth during that time got converted into coal, which is of huge worth nowadays, right? So domestic resource. So now we come into the concept of domestic resource. What is the meaning of domestic resource? Anything which is under the control of our territories, Indian territory, in which we can control everything, that is called domestic resource. Okay, so domestic resource are also called as the backbone of our economy. Okay, you know, whatever is there in the geographical area of India, that is all the resources are being part of Indian resources. And you know, exclusive economic zone, which is 200 nautical miles from the borders of India, is the exclusive economic zones of India. Okay, into the oceans, right? Indian Ocean, Arabian Sea, Bay of Bengal, 200 nautical miles area is being exclusively under the Indian. They are called as Indian domestic resources, and India can take out any resources from there. Okay, so there are a lot of resources: land, water, forest, air, minerals. Okay, all these type of resources are there, which is of any worth to us. It is called resources. And without the resources we cannot develop anything, whether we can call it as agriculture, we call it as industry, whether we call it as service, or whatever it is, we cannot develop any resources until and unless we have all these in our hand. Okay. Okay, so what common features that any resource is having? So resources are having three important common features. Like whenever we say that something is a resource, it has three important common features. That means first is utility, second is limited availability, and third one is potential for depletion. Utility means obviously it has some utility, that is why it is called as resource, correct? Without utility, how can you say that something as a resource? So first thing is that utility is one thing which defines certain thing as a resource. Then it has a very limited availability. Okay, it is highly inadequate, and it is not freely available, it is not ubiquitous. Okay, so it has a very limited availability, and obviously it has a potential for depletion. Like we go for oil and gas, oil, gas, metals. Okay, all have a potential for depletion. So if anything which is catering to this, which is catering to these three things, we call it as resource. So these are the three important common features of resources, correct? Now, what are the type of resources? Okay, now we have discussed like what is a resource, what is the three features, important features of a resource. Now, various type of resources that we are going to discuss. Okay, primary are three primary types are there, but still there are few more which I have discussed in the later on, right? So most important resource that everybody will be needing was a financial resource. Financial resource, what is that? It is referred to the money. It refers to the funds which you are having, which businesses are having, why the government is having, or anybody who is having the money, that is called financial resources. Money is something which is a very important resource for running anything. Okay, you can call that money. Money can be in the form of, like, it can be in the form of cash, money can be in the form of a bank deposit, money can be in the form of investment in the shares, loans, or anything, or monetary assets, or anything, right? So this is called as a financial resources, and these are very important, very important for various type of work. If you wanted to do anything, आपको कुछ भी बनाना है, anything, you want to make a factory, you want to make a business, you wanted to invest, you want education, you want health, or anything, whatever you want, human resources, so you need financial resources in order to work at any other places, because this is the basic of economic transaction. Okay, this is the basic of economic transaction that we are having in our country, right? So we need financial resources. So finance is one of the type of resources that we need, and we keep it as a short. It is not freely available to everybody, no. It depends on your work, it depends on your worth, and based on that everybody is having certain degree of financial freedom, financial worthiness. Okay, now the next one is human resources, right? Human resources means anybody, like a person. Okay, resource, human resource is a person who can contribute in certain way, like they can provide their skills. Okay, they can provide their skills, they can provide their knowledge, they can provide their labor, okay, ability to organization projects or anything. Okay, so this is called human resources. The more and more skill a person is, the more a more a better human resource that you are having. That's why we are thinking that in our country we need a lot of human resources. We have human resources, we have demographic dividend, we have demographic dividend, but what is the quality, what is the quality of this demographic dividend, like whether the people are skilled, whether they are healthy, whether they are properly educated, that determines whether we will be able to reap the benefit of the demographic dividend or not. Okay, so it can be anybody, contractors, leaders, so whatever those people who are in the working age. Human resource, normally if we put under that any category, human resource can be considered as a people who are under the working age, right? From 15 to 64, like that we considered as a working age, and above 64 people usually work right nowadays. Okay, nowadays, and below 15 we call it as a child labor, right? So these are very very important. Human resource is very very important for driving innovations, productivity, growth in the organization and as a society as a large. Then we have a natural resources that we have already discussed. So let's see what are the natural resources. That means something, some resources which has a value to the person. Okay, it can be anything. It can be your elements. It can be your materials. Okay, it can be naturally occurring in the substance, naturally occurring in the environment. Right? We can have a water, we can have a soil, air, minerals, forest, wildlife, fossil fuel, renewable energy, etc., etc. All these are called as natural resources, and these are very very important to sustain human life on the planet earth. They are very very important to sustain the life on the earth, and without these natural resources it is very very like it is not possible to have a life on the earth. And that is why whenever we talk of anything, we talk about the sustainable development we talk about. Okay, sustainable development means utilizing for the present generation and saving for the future generation. Okay, that is the concept of sustainable development, everybody knows, and whenever you are talking about that, you should keep this thing in mind. Okay, sustainable development goals you should keep in mind. Okay, yesterday we talked about the 17 goals. Okay, in the later on chapters we will be discussing regarding these subsequent goals properly. Okay, 17 goals. Okay, then we have physical resources. Physical resources are tangible which you can touch. Okay, like your buildings, land, machinery, equipments, vehicle, electricity, water, or anything. Okay, these are the resources which are utilized for better manufacturing, transportation, construction, and various other things. Okay, these are the physical resources. Your house is a physical resource, your factory is a physical resource, your road is a physical resource, machinery is a physical resource. So these are all called as physical resources. Now we have intellectual resources. Intellectual means which is from your intellect. Okay, which is from your intellect, from your thinking. Okay, these are called intellectual resources, like in the form of your knowledge, in the form of the information, in the form of the patent file. Patent means the thing which you have discovered, and for that you have filed a patent. And you know, global innovation index. Yesterday we talked about global innovation index, in which Indian government and Indian patent filer are gaining a lot of good rankings over there. Copyrights, then trademarks, all these are part of intellectual resource. That means if you have anything, if you have any patent, if you have any copyright, if you have any trademark, That is your property, that is your value, that is your resources, and you can reap the benefit of that. Okay, so this is a very very important resource. Intellectual resource are very very important resource for innovation, research, and development. Okay, so if you are part of any company, if you're part of any university, or if you're part of any of the, even if you're part of any research facility or anything, if you have done any good research and you are able to file your patent and your patent get accepted, if you have put some copyright on that and your copyright get accepted, then you are the sole owner of the resources, and you can reap the benefit of that resources in the coming days or years, right? Then we have a technological resources. Right now we have a lot of technological development that are taking place in the form of software, the form of hardware. You are creating a technological infrastructure throughout. Okay, technological infrastructure, we have a lot of data centers, quantum computers, then we have a lot of like robotics machineries and everything's are there. Okay, quantum computer, quantum computers, robotics machinery. Okay, and then we have supply lines. Okay, we have supply lines. Okay, these are all part of your technological resources, and if you have any of the good edge over these work, you will be the part of the technological resource person. You will be utilizing that technology for your own benefit. Like people are developing a lot of things, a lot of products and everything. India is known as a IT hub also. Okay, we are developing software modules, and we are putting a lot of telecommunications, 6G, 5G, 6G, and various other things are becoming robotics, automation. These are all the technologies. If you have good technologies based in your own hand, will be utilizing it as a resource. Tesla is a very good technological company, whether they have talked about the SpaceX or they talk about the Tesla. Okay, so and then Apple is known for innovation. Okay, Apple products are known for innovation. Microsoft, Google. Okay, then we have a lot of other machinery companies are there. Right now, I have talked only about the technological company. Okay, so you can utilize this technology and reap the benefit of this resource. Okay, if you are creating any kind of software, if you are creating any type of robotic network, if you are creating any type of automation, that is your developed technological resources, and you can utilize this technological resources for your own benefit. Okay, and then the cultural resource means like in our country right now, government is giving due importance to the cultural heritage side, whether it is cultural heritage side or natural heritage side, or whatever it is, natural heritage side like national park, zoological park. Okay, like national park. Then we have our wildlife sanctuary, wildlife sanctuaries. Okay, and then all these things are called as a natural park. And then we have cultural heritage means like villages which are known for certain products. Then we have temples, mosque, then we have churches and various other things are there. Okay, historical sites are there, literature, artifacts, all these things are there which we treat as a cultural, and people come over there and we utilize to show them, and then this is called as a cultural resource that our country is having. Every country have their own cultural resources, whether you go outside Europe, Indonesia, Japan, America, London, wherever you go, you will be finding all these type of resources everywhere, and everybody is reaping the benefit of that resources in the form of tourism, in the form of education, in the form of community development, and also collecting as a memory of identity, right? Then social resources. Social resources means how socially you are engaged with anybody. What is your social network? How people treat you? What is your social gathering, relationship, community ties, trust, and various other things? So this is called as a social capital. We call it as a social resources, like how influential you are, what is your gathering, what is the acceptance of yourself towards your group and peers, right? If we go by the politician, okay, if we go by the group of politicians, when we talk about the politician has a must say. Okay, if we go by Prime Minister Narendra Modi, Prime Minister Narendra Modi. It is Prime Minister Narendra Damodar Das Modi. Okay, he has a huge say. He has a huge social base in our country, not in our country, outside the country also, wherever he has gone. Okay, so this is also called social resource, and we can utilize this social resource in order to work for our own country. Right now, like in Dubai, we have created a Swami Narayan Mandir, right? Temple we have created. It is because of the social capital. It is because of the social say of the Prime Minister Narendra Modi. It is because of the stature of the Prime Minister Narendra Modi, his work and everything. Because of this, because of his collaboration, because of his cooperation and mutual assistance, we are able to see a lot of India's supporting things outside the world. Okay, this is called social resources. So we are utilizing, because all these are resources, whether it is social, natural, infrastructure, or whatever technological. All these are resources which is utilized to do something for us. Okay, correct. Now, what is the need for resource mobilization? This is a very important topic. Why? Because in UPSC, they sometimes ask this question directly. Why we should look for the resources? Why? Why we have to, there are a lot of things. Everything is there, so we can utilize it anyway. Okay, but there is a need, like, because some resources are there at certain places, some resources are there at certain other places. So we need to mobilize one resources from certain place, we have to mobilize certain resources from the other place, and then we have to utilize these resources at a single place, and then we have to make the benefit of it. Okay, so it is very very important in different contexts, whether for organization, communities, or country. Okay, so the first and most important part is funding program and initiative. Resource are used for funding various government programs. It is not only for the government. Wherever you need some work, you need funding. Okay, you need funding, and that funding will only coming from your resources. Okay, so it helps in funding various programs, various initiative, like organization, government, communities, or whatever it is. If you wanted to work anywhere, okay, if you have any kind of societal needs, like your healthcare, education, infrastructure, if you want money in the healthcare, if you want money in the education, healthcare means Ayushman Bharat, Ayushman Bharat Yojana, right? Everybody knows. Education, right to education, correct. Midday meal, MDM, correct. Infrastructure, PM Gati Shakti, national and infrastructure pipeline, national infrastructure pipeline, social welfare program, pension program. From where the money is coming? That means government has to mobilize the resources. This is the need. We wanted to mobilize the resources because we want to fund our programs, right? Then capacity building. We wanted to enhance the capacity of our people. We wanted to enhance the capacity of our communities. Okay, so that is why if we wanted to enhance the capacity, we have to provide them with the training. Training will be provided only when we mobilize the resources. Once the resources will be given, then only we are able to add on the capacity. Like Pradhan Mantri Kaushal Vikas Yojana. Kaushal Vikas Yojana. Here government is providing training to the students. So government will be providing training. That means somebody has to pay for this training, right? So government is paying for this training in order to enhance the capacity of the people, capacity of the students, so that they become employable. Then sustainable development, because resource mobilization is very very important for for utilizing resource efficiently. It is not like that you have resources, you can indiscriminately utilize it anywhere. Okay, you have to utilize it in a properly sustainable and properly in an efficient way. That means the resource has to be only utilized that much which is needed for that purpose. It is not like that if you have 100 crore rupees. Okay, if I say if you have 100 crore rupees and the work is of only 90 crore rupees, but still you have spent whole 100 crore. No, you have to keep it a proper sustainable way of working, right? In this case, I wanted to give the example of Delhi Metro. Delhi Metro has been made under the budget. No overshot of the budget has happened. So this is called as a highly efficient use of resource. Correct? Then responding to the emergency and crisis. Why we need resource mobilization? During the time of emergency, we need certain resources. Okay, tunnel collapse. The tunnel collapse that has happened during the last Diwali 2023. That has happened in Uttarakhand. For that, we have to mobilize resources from America, from Indonesia, and from various other purposes. Right? We need around 1 month that the process has gone. People were hiding. People were totally trapped inside that tunnel. So during the time of emergency, we need resources. Right? Resources are also needed for innovation research because government wanted to invest the money in research projects, because once you do the research, then only you can do the patent, then only you can do the copyright. Okay, once you are able to do the patent, once you are able to do the copyright, then only you can utilize that for your own benefit. Okay, so funding, resource mobilization need is support innovation research initiatives, then address inequality and social justice. Right? In our country we have lot of inequality in the form of scheduled caste, scheduled tribes, then other backward classes, and the various other categorization under that. So government need to promote these classes also. Government wanted to address that, so government used lot of educational program, lot of pension program, lot of skill development program for these people. So from where this money has to come? Okay, so resource mobilization is needed for this purpose also. Resource mobilization is needed for creation of infrastructure. Resource mobilization is needed for the creation of infrastructure, whether it is rail, whether it is road, whether it is airport, whether it is power sector, whether it is fertilizer sector, whatever the sector it is, government needed to invest in these area in order to enhance the capacity, whether bridge, school, hospital, whatever it is. Right? Government need resources for social, environmental and political issues in order to explain that what government is doing socially, environmentally, political issues. So in order to advocate, how government is going to advocate? Government has to give ads, government has to run the various type of ads in social medias, newspaper, magazine and various other places. In order for the advocacy and awareness, government has need resources for these all these work. Right? Now the main thing, from where the sources will come, from where the money, from where the resources will be coming. Now we have moved into the single way of getting a single part of the resources that we are talking about is the money resources, resource mobilization. Okay, so we will be talking about single part over here, resource mobilization, regarding the monetary. Okay, like first of all, government gets lot of resources from the tax revenue. Tax can be anything, your income taxes are there, corporate taxes, GST. Okay, GST, government is earning lot of GST nowadays, custom duties, excise duty. From here money is coming. Non-tax revenue where government is not directly taxing, like in the form of a fee, penalties or anything like that. So you are getting a non-tax revenue from that. Then sometimes government is short of money, so government has to borrow the money from somebody. It can borrow from the domestic borrowing, or it can be international borrowing. It can be borrowed from international institution, international government, in the RBI or whatever it is. Okay, so government borrows the money also. Government get the money from the public sector enterprises because government is holding the shares of this company. Based on the shares, so government gets the profit in that company. Profit, dividend, government is getting in this. Right? Then we have FDI, the various big companies. Okay, 1991 we have opened our market, we have opened our economy in the form of LPG reforms. Right? In the form of LPG reforms. Right? So we are getting foreign direct investment. Along with the foreign direct investment, we are also getting technology in our country. Right? Whether Indian business are investing outside, whether outside business are investing in India, it is a very important thing. It helps in capital generation. it helps in job creation, it helps in economic growth, right? Then domestic investment is coming from where? Individuals. Like we are like if we are investing in our Indian company, that means we are investing in India, that is called domestic investment. Like if I buy a share of Infosys, okay, if I buy a share of Infosys, that means I have invested my money in Infosys. Whatever money I was having, that means whatever the resources I was having, I have invested, I have given to Infosys for their work, right? So this is called resource mobilization. I have invested in the form of stocks, I have invested in the form of bonds, mutual funds, real estate, whatever it is. Like if I have a saving, if I have a saving, so I have invested my saving in either real estate, either stocks, bonds, mutual fund. That is called domestic investment. So that means it is resource mobilization that is happening, right? Then grant and aid, that from outside we are getting money, technical assistance, international organization, like you are getting from World Bank, you are getting from IMF, okay? You are getting from World Bank, you are getting from IMF, multilateral banks, right? Uh, International Infrastructure Finance, okay, ADB, New Development Bank, and New Development Bank, NDB, right? Then you have your own personal savings are there, corporate savings, personal savings, all these things are there which are utilized for your resource mobilization. Because once you are keeping your saving, you are keeping in bank, bank is giving that money to the corporate world, where corporate world is investing that money. Okay, you have the saving, you are keeping your saving in bank, bank are giving this money to the corporate world. Okay, corporate is investing the money, corporate is investing the money, right? So this is again one of the best type of resource mobilization. Then capital market means share market. We have Bombay Stock Exchange, we have national stock exchanges are there. Now we have a social stock exchange, social stock exchange we are also having. Then we are getting the money from the banks, loans, credits, in the form of, like, we are getting the money, like if we have short of money and we have good ideas, okay, we are getting bank loans, right? If we have an idea, we can invest that money in that idea and we can generate the money. So that means bank loan and credit are a part of mobilization of resources. They are mobilizing the resources. Microfinance is a it's like it's usually for self help groups and for individual who are starting a low cost business or anything like that. Then we have a Lakpati Didis are there, right? Lakpati Didis are there in the if you go to the villages, this microfinance is a very important concept over there. Okay, they mobilize the saving of the rural area into the economy. Then corporate social responsibility is also giving a lot of money, a lot of resources. You know Azim Premji Foundation, Azim Premji Foundation. You know about the Shiv Nadar Foundation of HCL. You might be knowing about the Infosys Foundation, right? So they are providing 2% of their net profit, 2% of their net profit to corporate social responsibility. So Azim Premji Foundation is running schools. Shiv Nadar Foundation is running lots of initiative related to schooling, education, and healthcare. Infosys Foundation is also doing the same thing. Okay, so that means this is the resource which we are getting and we are mobilizing for our own benefit, whether it is the infrastructure field, whether it is the education field, skill development field, or whatever field it is. Then we are getting remittance from outside, right? Remittance in the form of people are sending money from abroad to India. Like most of the India is the highest remittance acceptor. Like last year we got around $100 billion of remittance last year. Okay, so again that is again because of the saving, investment, and economic development that will happening. And then crowdfunding is one of the way of getting the resources. Like if you have certain issue, if you have certain concept, if you have some uh, issue, okay, you can generate a crowdfunding sources. Like you can create a web portal and you can explain the concept over it. Right now if you go and you can see in the website, there are a lot of people who are asking the money for the treatments, for the treatments. Okay, they are showing the photo of a child who is lying down on a on a bed and he's crying that he need around 2 crore rupees, 3 crore rupees, like that. Okay, just the example I'm telling. Okay, just the example I'm telling. So they are simply lying down and they are asking for the resource. Okay, so this crowdfunding is one of the other way, like through which you can get a resources. Then state government generate their own resources, local government generate their own resources like panchayats, like how the state government generate resources in the form of taxes, fees, levies, and they get the money from the central government. At the same time, local government, we call it as municipal corporation. Okay, local government, we call it as the municipal corporation and panchayats. How the panchayats and municipal corporation get the money? They, through the property taxes, user charges, development fees, and everything, they get the resources. Then sovereign wealth fund, very very big fund these are. Okay, what are these funds do? Now, sovereign wealth fund means whenever we talk about any word sovereign, what is the meaning of sovereign? Sovereign means a country which is not being controlled by anybody. Sovereign wealth fund means like you are getting funds or you are getting the funds from any organization which is managed by the government. Okay, like you get US treasury bonds, Indian treasury bond, right? So these are called sovereign wealth fund. Government generate lot of money through this fund. Okay, so these are all treasury bonds, Indian treasury bonds, bond market. Okay, these are being released by the government and state government in order to raise the money, in order to generate the money, right? So this is again the sovereign wealth fund. This is the new concept, venture capitalists and private equity. Venture capital means these are some of the very important private equity funds. Okay, here the private peoples are the people who have a lot of money and they put their money in the startups. You know, a lot of startups are there and they are getting the funding, right? They are funding series A funding, series B funding, series C funding. Okay, so they are all getting from the venture capitalists and various big firms. They are getting this funding. These are startup funding. Okay, so this is again they are getting the resources. You know, in our country we have Paytm, which is having a bad time right now. We have Zomato, we have our Swiggy, we have Ola, some name, some names are there. So these are all getting funding from the venture capitalists. Okay, they are getting resources because they have a concept, they have an idea, they have put in that idea, they have raised the money in order to generate a company out of it, right? Then we are getting export earning, we are selling something and we are getting export. Okay, so last year it was said that our merchandise export has crossed the IT service. Earlier what was happening is that service export was more than merchandise. But last year, what has happened is that the situation got reversed, and now merchandise is getting more revenue from the more revenue than services. Okay, so this is a very good news for us that our products are getting acceptable throughout the world, and we are generating export revenues from there. Then we have monetization of asset. We have a lot of assets are there. Okay, government companies are there. We have real estate, land, infrastructure projects are there. You can lease that, you can sell them, you can transfer the ownership of them. Okay, that is called monetization of asset. That means you can monetize certain asset, loss making asset. You get the money, let other party run that, and with that money you run something else. That is called monetization of assets. Okay, if you have a house and if you are not like if you have a company and if you are not able to run a company properly, then you should sell it to someone who is expert in running that company. Okay, you will get the resources and that person will be able to run that company properly and you will get the resources as money, right? So both has a win-win situation over here. Then alternate finance mechanism like infrastructure trust are there, real estate trust are there. So these are all the places from where you can generate the resources and money. Then we have development financial institutions are there. Outside we have a lot of development financial institutions are there. Okay, which are working in particular field. Like some are working in renewable energy, some are working in the rural development area, some are working in the road generation, some are working in the, so they all the development financial institution are there who have a separate way of funding the various projects. So some are funding some different projects, some are funding other projects. They are giving the money. Like if we go by like Asian Development Bank is funding the Bangalore Bangalore Metro. Okay, like that. Okay, so these are development financial institutions which are providing resources to various other places based on their own priority area. Then we have a public private partnership. Okay, earlier what was government is doing? Earlier when government wanted to create a factory, so government invest the money, government only keep the people, and then government run that. So this is not an efficient way. Okay, you have to keep those people at that place who are expert in that. Okay, so now government said that we will provide you the money, you make a factory, you run the factory, after certain time you transfer that to me. Okay, like right now if we go by a road, what model? Build, operate, transfer. That means government said that you build the road, you operate the toll, after certain years you transfer that to the government. Okay, so this is a win-win situation. Government will not be needing resources, the private party will be investing the resources, private party will be generating their own resources, and after certain time they will be transferring that to the Indian government or whatever it is. Okay, now we are coming into the, so these are I wanted to know, like now most of the people might be thinking, sir, why do we have to remember all these type of sources? Obviously you have to remember all these sources, because whenever you are sitting in an exam situation is a highly pressure situation, and under a highly pressure situation you blank out, आप blank out कर जाते. So if we have 22 ways of generating the resources, if you remember at least 10 of them, then you are able to write a good answer. Obviously, you are going to write a very good answer if you know that. Correct? So remember the various way of generating resources, how they are generating the resources. Like if you can see over here, we have discussed all these things, right? Tax revenue, non-tax revenue, borrowings, public sector enterprises, foreign direct investments, domestic investment, grant and aid, savings, capital market, bank loan, microfinance, corporate social responsibility, remittance, crowdfunding, state and local government revenue, sovereign wealth fund, venture capitalists, export earnings, monetization asset, alternate investment mechanism, all these development finance and public-private partnership. So if you remember that, and once you keep on revising all these things, automatically that will be there in your subconscious memory. Okay, you have to remember this, because during the time if any question come related to the resource mobilization, then you have these points in your hand. You can play with the words, you can play with the points. That is the beauty of this. You have to remember this. Now what is the role of saving and investment in resource mobilization? This is the topic. What role saving and investment play? Okay, we know that saving is a very important resource, because most of the thing you do in a consumption. Okay, you have a money, consumption, and saving. This is a very very important part which act like a resource, or which is the resource. That means it is a portion of income which is not consumed, and it has been set aside for the future. You can do saving in any form. You can invest that money, you can do a bank deposit, retirement, like you can do the pension funds, right? You know, pension fund, lot of pension people are getting a lot of pensions out of that. Then financial instrument, bonds, stocks, anything you can, right? Then this money will be utilized as an investment. You can acquire certain assets from there, right, over a time, and this asset will generate return for you in the near future, right? You can invest in machinery, you can invest in equipments, you can invest in infrastructure. Okay, you can invest in yourself. How you can invest in yourself? In the form of a skill development, in the form of skill development. You get skilled, you get developed, and you can utilize yourself, your skills, in order to gain employment, right? Education, training, right? So, how investment is done? Investment can be done in various other fields, like in your machinery, equipments, infrastructure, like energy generation, road sector. You know, Bharatmala, PM Gati Shakti, and National Infrastructure Pipeline is there. 102 lakh crore rupees project is that correct? National Infrastructure Pipeline. These are very, very important projects. Very, very important projects which are utilized, which where the money is getting invested and which is being utilized for the generation of capital. They are helping in capital formation, which will enhance the capacity development of our country. Okay, so how this will happen? Okay, if you have a higher level of saving, saving will lead to investment, investment will lead to increased capital and higher productivity, and obviously output will increase. Okay, you know what is the target? Dollar 5 trillion dollar economy that we have to make our country. So this is needed. This is the need of the present time, right? So this will help in creating a positive cycle of growth, right? Then it will also enhance the job creation. It will increase the job creation, income generation. Okay, investment will lead to capital formation. Capital formation will lead to job creation. Job creation will lead to income generation, and obviously it will fuel the resource mobilization cycle. Okay, this is how the cycle keeps on working, right? Now, financial intermediation. Now, what is the role of financial institution like bank, investment funds, and capital market? Okay, these are financial intermediation, like those who are working between the uh, like our uh, organizations and the individuals. Okay, these are banks, investment funds, capital market. These are all there, right? So banks, investment funds, capital market, they allocate the capital efficiently. Like they know where exactly the money has to be invested. They know proper opportunities of investment. Right now, if you go, there are a lot of funds are running. There are a lot of investment managers are there. You know, big companies are there. They are running investment managers. They are having a lot of investment manager. They are guiding the people, high net worth individual, high net worth HNIs, high net worth individuals are there. And with this saving and investment, it leads to the long term stability, okay, and resilience. That means there will be no sudden rise in the prices, there no sudden dip in the prices, okay. Proper saving and investment keeps the economy running on a stable track. On a stable track, you will have a very good quality assets, okay. Your economy will be able to handle the pressure. Your economy will be able to handle, mitigate the risk in a very proper way. Okay, so if you are investing in either in any infrastructure, education, and technology, it adds on the economic capacity. And obviously, once you are able to do that properly, you remain competitive in the international market. This is the main beauty of the resource mobilization. Like wherever there is a very important need, very dire need of that resource, we are utilizing it for that purpose, right? So let me now external sources are like that. We have already discussed regarding from where we are getting the resources, but there are certain external resources that need in-depth analysis. Like we are getting the money from foreign direct investment, we are getting from official development assistance. Okay, ODA. So first of all, we will discussing regarding the foreign direct investment. Foreign direct investment, that means any company or any individual who is making investment in other country, either they acquire something or either they invest or they make a new facility. You know, a lot of MNCs are there. MNCs are there, like we have Cognizant, Microsoft, Accenture, okay, Coca-Cola, Pepsi, Tesla, all these things are there. If they are making any company outside their own country, that is called as a foreign direct investment. They are coming, so they can come in the form of a subsidiary company. They can do a merger of that. Okay, anything they can do, like they can acquire joint venture, they can do acquisitions. Okay, so what is the benefit of that? Benefit is that obviously whenever they are coming to a country, they are bringing the technologies. This is very, very important for our working, right? They help in job creations, they increase the productivity, All these things are being the benefits of the foreign direct investment. And government, even government ask the people from outside country to come to India and invest in our country. Okay, so government provide a lot of benefits to these people, lot of benefits government provide to these people in the form of tax breaks, like reducing the regulations and protection of investor agreements. Everything government is providing, tax holidays. Okay, all these things government is providing. Okay, and this FDI flow are tracked by international organization like UNCTDA or OECD. Okay, like from where the government, where from where the funding is going, at which place the funding is going, and like that. Okay, official development assistance ODA, they are provided by the governments, they are provided by multilateral agencies, they are provided by the development institution. Main objective, what is the main objective? Like if you go by the OECD, UNCTDA, United Nation, ADB, IMF, right? National Development Bank. Okay, these are all called multilateral agencies. Some are being part of government and everything. The main purpose of them is that economic development in the developing world, reducing poverty in the developing world, and improving the living standard in the developing world, right? So, and this is one of the important focus, and there are certain other focuses that are also there under these external sources, where they're getting the money. They are investing in healthcare, they're investing in education, agriculture, and governance. You know, Israel is providing a lot of technologies for our agriculture. Israel, okay, Israel has provided with a drip irrigation, drip and sprinkler, right? They are providing with that. Then ODA is often provided in the form of grant. You get a grant, direct money grant. Concessional loan, that means you are getting the loan for 0.1% interest rate, that is a very low interest rate. Technical assistance, sometimes they provide technical assistance, sometimes they provide debt review. So these are all the type of way through which you get resources from outside world. Okay, then remittance, we have already discussed regarding that. Then foreign portfolio investors, so different it is different from FDI. It is different from FDI because foreign portfolio investment usually involve they purchase the securities like stocks, bonds in other foreign countries. Okay, whenever we, if you ever read the newspaper, if you ever read the newspaper, you will see that today's stock market crashed because 6,000 crore rupees has been taken away by the FPI, and then you will get a news that today the stock market booms because 10,000 crore has been injected by the FPI in our economy, like that. Okay, so this is FPI is a volatile resource of money, right? So FPI do not control the ownership. They just invest in the shares, and wherever they find much more profit, they move to that location. Okay. So normally FPI provide lot of liquidity in our financial market. Okay. They provide a lot of diversified investment portfolios are there. Okay. But the thing is that there is a issue of volatility. They have a risk associated with it. Now export credit and trade finance, we are getting government is providing you with export credit, trade finances in order to do trade with the outside world, right? The government is providing a lot of way of working, like if you wanted to do an international trade or anything, government is providing the resource. So here you can see how the government is utilizing resources and how government is mobilizing the resources for development of international trade. Okay, again the concept of mobilization of resources came over, right? So there are a lot of financial product government is providing, like how you can utilize this resource for the benefit of your own company or any organization. So government is supporting all the small and medium enterprises in such a way. So this is called as a proper utilization of resource, right? Then we are getting public private partnership in all the way possible that we have already discussed. And right now most of the projects which are running in our country, most of the projects, I don't know the percentages, but most of the projects that are running in our country right now, they are being run under PPP partnership. Okay, government is providing resources, Then private party will be providing the technological development, infrastructure development. Sometimes private party only provides everything, and later after getting some profit they give it to the government. So this is how the things are going now. Now, what are the challenges in mobilizing the resource? Till now we have discussed what is the need, from where we are getting the resources, whether internal market, external market. But what is the challenges? Because this is also very important, because whenever we talk of anything, we have to talk in a holistic way. So challenges in mobilizing the resources, what challenges we face, क्या क्या problems आती हैं हम लोग को resource को mobilize करने में? Obviously, first of all, when we wanted to mobilize the resources, we have a very limited tax base. You know, earlier there was only 2% were paying the taxes. Now I think it has reached to 6%. Right now, around only 6% of the Indian uh, population is only paying tax. So this is a very very limited tax base. Okay, it is a very very narrow tax base, and most of the work in our country are being done in an informal sector. So because of that, there is a huge loss of taxes to the government, right? Then sometimes there is not, sometimes always there is a huge tax evasion and black money that has been created, because black money is something for which the tax has not been paid, and once the tax has not been paid, the whole money is called as tax. Like if I wanted to tell you is that, if we have a 1000 rupees, we have bought something of 1000 rupees, and for 100 rupees, and 4% is the tax on that. So exactly I have to pay 104 rupees for that. Okay, this 4 rupees will go to the government, right? But in order to avoid to pay this 4 rupees, we say that do not give bill. So the shopkeeper will not give the bill. You pay only 100 rupees, and this whole 100 rupees will be the black money of that shopkeeper, which is not accounted. Correct? So lot of black money is getting generated. You know, have you ever been to the any of the shop and where you have asked for a bill? You go to a local shop, you buy a chocolate, and you say, okay, 100 rupees chocolate, you take this 100 rupees. Have you ever asked for a bill? Even if you wanted to ask, you can ask for the toffee bill also, right? So there is a lot of tax evasion and black money that is happening, which is a huge challenge for the mobilization of resources, because a lot of resources get lost in this purpose. High fiscal deficit, government has to borrow lot of money, and with the borrowing, one comes a headache. Okay, if you borrow a money, there is a huge headache of interest payment. Last year budget, we have to pay 10 lakh crore rupees as a interest payment to various international agencies, because we have taken a lot of loan from there, right? So it has to, that is why the government fiscal budgetary management act has been passed in 2003, and with that government has been asked to keep that particular at a certain range. Then we have an infrastructure deficit. The type of infrastructure that we need now, the type of energy sector that we need now, the type of communication network that we need now is still not in place. That is why we are not able to utilize our full potential. For that we need resources. If we have a good infrastructure, we can properly mobilize the resources. Then proper financial inclusion. Okay, this after during the time of demonetization, this financial inclusion has gone very deeper, but still people are still away from this concept of financial inclusion, because it has not even reached till last mile delivery. It is still not reached up to last mile. Okay, so we are not still able to mobilize all the savings, or we are not able to channelize all the funds in a proper productive way. Huge corruptions and government challenges are there. Though with Aadhaar, Jam Trinity model, you know Jam Trinity model, Janadhan, Aadhaar, and mobile, we are able to properly govern the things. Right now direct benefit transfers are happening to the bank accounts of the people. Okay, government is directly sending the direct, you know, Pahal scheme, LPG scheme, then we have a the PM Awas Yojana. For all these, the money is directly going into the bank account. So this is a highly uh, directed way of resource mobilization. Regional disparities are there. Some places are lagging behind, some places are getting much more benefit of the places, much more benefit of the technologies. That means there is a regional disparities that are happening. If we go to the northeast, if we go to the upper like Jammu and Kashmir, Rajasthan, or we go into the Bastar and Naxalite area, there are still issues that are there which has to be solved in order to remove the challenge of resource mobilization in those places. Then environmental sustainability. Okay, we have to make sure that we have to properly balance our growth with the environment. It is not like that we start cutting forests, we start indiscriminate use of the resources in order to gain economic development. No, we cannot go for economic development by removing our environment sustainability. Both economic development and environmental sustainability go hand in hand. If you go and you see the Delhi, if you go see a Mumbai, they are being the example of air pollution. Their air quality index AQI is always above 400. People are suffering from their stomach problems. Skill development and human capital is still a problem because we are not able to properly mobilize this resource. Human capital we are not able to mobilize properly because we are not providing them with proper skill. We are providing them with a skill, but they are not being properly aligned. That the type of skills, the quantity of the skills that is needed is, there is a gap between that. Okay, proper vocational trainings is very need of the hour in order to generate huge human capital. And then global economic uncertainties, Israel Hamas war is going on, Russia Ukraine war is going on. So these are global economic uncertainties which come and which again undermine our mobilization of resources. Right, earlier because of Israel Hamas war, we have a oil prices that went very high. Okay, then Russia started selling oil to India at a reduced rate. Right, okay, so again we have to buy, we have to get our resources, and that too at our own prices. So we have to do a lot of checks and balances in order to achieve that price. Now, what are the steps that has to be taken to properly mobilize the resource? So there are a lot of steps that we can take to how we can properly mobilize the resources. In the starting, we should know the goals. Like if we want certain resources, first of all, we should know that where we wanted to invest that resource. Clearly defined objective, clearly defined purpose, where the resource has to be spent, whether it is natural, whether it is capital, whether it is money, whether it is human. Properly identify the goal where it has to be spent. Assess available resource, like you have to assess like how much you are having, whether how much finance you are having, from where you need extra finance, how much human capital you need, how much material you need, how much technology you need. You have to identify how much you need, how much you are having, whether you are able to properly do that in proper time frame, proper in a proper way, whether you are able to utilize that resources or not. So this is what we call it as like what we can do. Properly identify the strengths, properly identify the weakness and opportunities in that area. Then you have a resource mobilization strategy. Everywhere, wherever you are utilizing your resources, you have to have a proper strategy. Like if we wanted to invest in power sector, so how much resources will be needed? Okay, you have to read all the case studies. Then how much you wanted to need, how much money is needed, what etc. new technologies has come, what we can do to reduce the resource. Okay, how we can optimally utilize that resources, how we can properly manage the resources, how we can save the resources yet get the same output. Right. So the strategy is very important. You have to need a timeline, proper timeline. Your timeline should not overshoot. Okay, the more the timeline overshoot, the more budget you needed and the more bad product you are going to make. Then proper priorities need to be established. Proper priorities need to be established. Like what is your priority area? Where exactly you want it? Like you have a resource for one, you have a single resource and you have to invest in this place or this place, place one or place two. So you have to decide what is your priority, whether you have to have priority first or priority second. What is needed, right? Then you have to keep on building various partnership and collaboration in order to have a good contacts, business governments, community, resource expertise. You have to keep the people of these resources, whether they are working in financial field, whether they are working in natural field, capital field, intellectual field. You have to build partnership and then allocate these resources wisely, so for optimum and efficient use. Okay, and once you have allocated, keep on monitoring, keep on evaluating where the resources are being utilized, find out the various gaps in allocation, properly utilize that, communicate and engage, keep on talking with the holders, engaging holders, stakeholders, those who are working over there, those who are working with your resource, how they are mobilizing the resource, whether they are wasting it or not wasting it, and whether they are optimally utilizing it. And then if something you can do, if you want it, if you are able to do something, like if you can adapt or innovate on certain things, you can do that also. Okay, it is like a thing in which you keep on adapting, you keep on innovating, keep on adapting, keep on innovating, like that. Okay, and at the last you have to ensure accountability and transparency in the whole process, then only you can properly mobilize the resource properly. Okay, so government is providing viability gap funding, like means if any project is having 10,000 crore rupees value, and the private party is only able to provide 7,000 crore, so government will provide this viability gap funding of 3,000 crore, 3,000 crore. And in the meanwhile, government try to change the policies, government try to reform the policies in order to mobilize the resources properly. Tax reforms has to be done in such a way that people should pay the taxes. Nobody should be generating black money or tax evasion are going. Okay, so tax reforms has to be keep on doing. Capacity development, skill development has to be at the prior keep on the topmost priority. Industrial clusters are being made in order for optimum use. Like if you are running a rail, if you are making a rail coach factory, okay, you should have a assembly line at that place only. You should get the steel from there, you should get the iron from there, you can get the designer at a single place. Okay, all these people, if they are find at a single place, your resource efficiency increases. That is why industrial clusters are being made. Okay, you know, food clusters. Let me tell you, food clusters. In food clusters, we need storage, we need testing, we need transportation. If we get all these facility at a single place, then the resource efficiency will increase, right? Collaboration, financial literacy program has to be run regarding the how you can save the money, how you can invest the money. Then we have a national development council. Everybody knows that it came in 6 August 1952. The main purpose of national development council is they assess the resources, they allocate the resources, how much resources will be allocated at which place, who will be utilizing that resource, right? You know, finance commission of our India, article 280, article 280 in our constitution says that whatever the financial resources the government is having, it has to be shared between the state government and the union government. So this sharing formula, this sharing formula is being given by the Finance Commission. It is a constitutional body. Along with that, we have a State Finance Commission which gets the money. Okay, and State Finance Commission allocate the money to the panchayats and municipal corporations. Now there are certain, so we have discussed a lot of resources. So what are the human resource, how we can mobilize the human resource? Okay, here some of the example I have given for your it should remain on your fingertips. आपके fingertips में ये रहना चाहिए कि human resources को कैसे mobilize करेंगे, how we can mobilize these human resources. First of all, we are running our startup policy, right? Startup policy, government is giving money to create startups in various fields, right? Pradhan Mantri Kaushal Vikas Yojana is running in order to skill the people. Manrega, employment guarantee scheme, Ajivika mission, livelihood mission, PM Suraksha Bima, Jeevan Jyoti Bima Yojana, right? Atal Pension Yojana for unorganized sector, Make in India. These are all the places where government is investing, on the people, human resource mobilization. All these places where government is investing on the people, right? Now we have a financial resource mobilization. We have regional rural banks. We have payment banks. We have small finance banks. Okay, we have regional rural banks. We have payment banks. We have small finance banks are there. We are doing priority sector lending. Okay, you know priority sector lending, where government is asking the regional rural bank, scheduled commercial bank to allocate particular percent to that sector. Agriculture sector, economically weaker section, renewable energy section. So there are a lot of sections are there. Business correspondent go to the villages for resource mobilization. KYC relaxation has been done. Jandhan Adhar, Gem Trinity, we call it as Gem Trinity model. Mudra Bank for small loan. Okay, Tarun, Kishore, Shishu. Okay, Tarun, Kishore, Shishu loans are there. Rupee card are being given to the people. Financial literacy program, financial inclusion through Aadhaar implementation, UPI, self-help group, bank linkages program. These are the topmost program government is running for financial resource mobilization, right? And then we have a natural resource mobilization. We have a lot of natural resources, like we are making national green corridor. Biomass we are utilizing. We are collecting the biomasses and we are generating power from that. PM Awas Yojana is running. 100% FDI in renewable energy, biogas missions, everything are running. So this is how you write an answer. First of all, once you get a question, you should have a data in your hand. डेटा, आपके हाथ में डेटा होना चाहिए, तभी देन ओनली यू आर एबल टू आंसर एनी क्वेश्चन. until and unless you don't have a data, how you can make answer? आप आंसर ही नहीं बना पाओगे. Once you have a data, then you should know, like, okay, I will put over here needs, I will put here, then from where I am getting from here, like that. So once you have all these content with your hand, okay, that's why I have given by topic preparation I am making you to do, so that all the topics get clarity. Okay, every topic get clear instruction in your mind, right? So thank you so much. I hope you have all enjoyed the session, and I'll be coming with the next video in the next class. Thank you.